everybody, it is me, Gannon, back again with another Star Trek Lower Decks review. It is fall, winter is coming, and that means that the holidays are here, and good food is going to be fattening me up, but that also means that I have to sit inside a lot, be lonely, wishing I had somebody to pick apples with, but because I stay inside too much painting Warhammer, that's probably not going to happen. But at least we have Star Trek to keep us company. What better Star Trek to keep us company than Lower Decks? Today we're going to be reviewing Star Trek Lower Decks episode 9 of season 2, titled Wej Duj. That is Klingon, by the way, I'm pretty sure. This episode was so fire. Like, it was really, really good. We got a extremely cool space battle scene with multiple spaceships and even implications of a new cool sassy crew member that we're definitely going to love. So let's get right into it as fast as we can. This episode starts off with the title card being given in what I believe to be Klingon. I'm pretty sure it's Klingon at this point. Captain Freeman explains that they're on a 12-hour trip and that she's granted the crew the day off. Then it cuts to the lower deckers explaining that they cannot hang out with Boimler because they're so busy using their R&R time to hang out with the heads of their respective departments. Mariner also explains that she's doing something with her mom because she doesn't really have it in a department. She's just kind of a badass. Boimler makes a comment about how he wish he served on a ship with a built-in social structure like a Klingon ship, where it then cuts to the lower decks of a bird of prey called the Sheta, which is amazing. It's literally just kind of a parody of a Starfleet lower deck ship, but just so stereotypically Klingon, with talks of Gog and throwing commanding officers basically out of command by force with coups. It's really just absolute jokes. And then one of the Klingons makes a snarky joke and mocks a Vulcan and does a Vulcan impersonation, making a comment about how it would absolutely suck to serve aboard one of their vessels. That's when they cut over to a Vulcan cruiser called the Cheval. By the way, I just always wish we could just see more Vulcan ships outside of Enterprise, just in Star Trek in general, and I'm just so happy we got to see one in this episode in all its glory because they're so freaking cool looking. I've always thought that the Vulcan ships were one of the best ship designs that they've ever made in Star Trek. The lower deckers on the Vulcan ship are basically what the Klingons described, super boring. They start out by showing some sort of altercation or small argument between the lower deckers of the Vulcan ship and this one sassy Vulcan female, and because they're just boring Stark Vulcans, their opening scene was just really not interesting. The only thing that they were trying to get out to the viewers that they were having a kind of an argument. Back to the Klingon ship, the captain fights and kills his first commander in this epic, glorious melee combat, where he proclaims the Klingon who impresses him the most that day will become the new first officer. The lower decker Klingon, I assume the Boimler parallel, is going to try and take advantage of this opportunity. Boimler tries to find a bridge buddy in the form of Kayshawn, but fails miserably when he makes fun of Kayshawn's weight in some poorly spoken Tamarian. And then he has a double fail moment when he tries to share Rutherford's bridge buddy, Commander Shax, where he insensitively brings up the planet Bajor, giving Commander Shax a Vietnam flashback where, since the activity he had Rutherford, like him and Rutherford were doing at the time, was pottery, he breaks a bunch of pots, turning them into sharp, broken weapons, and starts having these violent episodes where I can just like totally understand why this happens. Cardassians are essentially space, you know, like you know what I mean. I'm not trying to say that word on YouTube because I'm scared of saying naughty words that YouTube somehow will not like, but you know what I mean. Like, Cardassians are pretty messed up. We cut back to the Klingon and Vulcan ships, where a female Vulcan who is kind of slightly more emotional, confident, and erratic than the other Vulcans, and then also a male Klingon, both try to impress their captains and kind of fail at it. We cut to Boimler riding these TOS Final Frontier rocket boots, the same ones that Spock was riding around in the Final Frontier movie, hanging out with Dr. Tiana and Tendi, where, being Boimler, he naturally falls and eats complete shit. Boimler enters the training room where Captain Freeman and Mariner are arguing and shooting phasers around like madmen, and he instantly regrets it and leaves. And then he enters the turbo lift where he meets Commander Ransom, a human lieutenant, and then also a male Benzite who conveniently say and claim that they they are all from Hawaii, and Boimler hilariously convinces them that he's also from the islands of Hawaii and finally gets his opportunity to make some bridge buddies. They invite him to the holodeck later. On the Klingon and Vulcan ships, in summary, things just get worse. The Klingon takes more L's, and the Vulcan gets more pressure and criticism from her peers for her uptight and productive behavior. Boimler thinks about coming clean with his Hawaii Island lie, but shows up to the holodeck anyway in this goofy floral shirt like he's about to go to one of his first high school football games and they're having Hawaiian night. Back on the Klingon ship, the Klingon finishes walking his captain's targ, where they have a chat and the captain berates him, flatters him, and then promotes him to second in command, and then proceeds to tell the officer that he's the one who is responsible for the whole Pakled arc we have going on in lower decks right now. He's the one responsible for manipulating the Pakleds to fight with the Federation so that they could use all the commotion to take over the quadrant again. After hearing this, the newly appointed first officer is already reluctant and doesn't really like his captain as they beam over to the Pakled ship. The Cerritos picks up a weird energy reading, so it's time to head towards the Klingons. There's this wholesome scene where Captain Freeman tells Mariner that she had a really good time arguing with her that day, and Mariner agrees, and it's just a nice scene to see. Also, I'm just now noticing Captain Freeman had this hilarious Discovery parody shirt, shortened the Cerritos to Ritos, which I found weirdly hilarious. Just found that really funny. The Cerritos is attacked by the Pakleds and the Klingons, and while making their way to the bridge, Boimler has an interaction with Ransom and the other Islanders where he admits that he's not really from Hawaii. The others hilariously admit none of them are from Hawaii either, and that they were just really trying to relate to each other the whole time. However, Boimler, after then they get this little heart-to-heart, just immediately gets boxed out again because he is not from the moon. They've just learned that they're all from the moon, but because Boimler is from some insignificant town in California, he just gets boxed out once again, you know, being Boimler. What comes next is this beautifully choreographed space scene that instantly sealed this episode a position of 9 out of 10 on the Gannon rating. A beautiful scene, all the ships fighting from space, really well animated scenes from the Vulcan ship appearing to help out of nowhere, with the Vulcan on board helping immensely by creating a ship shield regeneration device that allows them to defeat the Pakleds. And then there's this epic and wholesome battle aboard the Klingon ship where the Klingon officer has this freaking sweet duel to the death with this captain, ultimately with the help of the Targ, defeating him and taking command of the vessel for himself. This is just so cool in so many ways. It was really just so well done and really great to see. It reminded me of how I felt when I first watched the TNG episode A Matter of Honor. This is the one where Riker goes and he is the temporary first officer on a Klingon ship, and you really get to see the culture inside a 24th century Klingon ship for the first time in the canon. In essence, the space battle was so great. It was beautiful. The ships were beautiful. The episode was insane. The episode ends with the Cerritos victorious over the Pakleds and an ending scene where the female Vulcan officer is scolded by her lame Vulcan captain, and he explains that she is being reassigned to a Starfleet vessel, which is obviously the Cerritos, so we can expect a new Vulcan crew member very soon, which is great. Everybody loves Vulcans, and the more the Vulcans, the merrier, honestly. Two great ending scenes where a young cadet comes to Boimler for help with his organizational skills because Ransom told him to, and it just kind of makes you feel good inside seeing it. And then there's also this really funny scene showing the Borg lower decks, which you really just have to see for yourself. I'm not even going to try to describe it. You just got to experience that for yourself. You need to go look up a clip later. You should really do that. With all that being said, this episode was easily the most cinematic and well-structured episode of Lower Decks ever made. Like, so far, easily deserves a 9 out of 10 score from this guy, and it is like the penultimate, hopefully I'm saying that right, episode. Next episode is the season finale, and I know it's absolutely going to be insane, and honestly, I don't know if I am going to review the new kids show. I probably should. I've made a vow that I'm going to review every episode of Star Trek, so I probably should. I'm going to watch the first episode to make a decision on whether I should or not. But with all that being said, thank you so much for watching another one of my Star Trek reviews. I've been working on my Warhammer so much, so if you watch any of my other content, that content is coming. I just have have to finish a couple more figures, and then I'll get back to the other stuff, I swear. Thank you so much for watching another one of my videos. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to slap a like on it. If you're enjoying any of the content that you see on the channel, I'd be very flattered if you're subscribed. Leave a comment down below. I love them so much. They really make me happy. I love interacting with people through YouTube comments. With all that being said, I'm gonna have to see you guys in the next one. Live long and prosper.